Do you want to know what separates average project managers from the ones who deliver results? It's not just luck, it's not about hard work. All of these things do count, but it's about the 10 things that I'm about to reveal to you today that every project manager needs to understand, needs to master in order to effectively manage their project. In today's video, I'm going to dive deep into it so that you can effectively know where to start as a beginner or an experienced project manager so that you can shape the way you manage your projects. This is Figure Out PM. We make sure that we break down the messy world of project management into something you can actually use. My name is Valeri, and if you're figuring out things the way I am, then you're already ahead of the game. So let's get into the 10 things that you need to know as a project manager to effectively manage your projects. The first thing that you have to know is the project life cycle. Understanding the project life cycle makes you know how you can start your project and how you are going to understand it. And in project management, we have 5 project life cycle. We have the initiation phase, we have the planning phase, we have the execution phase, we have the monitoring and control phase, and then the closing phase. Once you use these phases and implement your project with it, the chances of you succeeding are very high. The next thing that you want to understand is stakeholder management. Your project life depends on your stakeholders. How you communicate with them builds everything. You need to know how you communicate with your stakeholders, how you identify them, how you prioritize them. It is very important in all your projects. Not all project managers speak the same language, so you have to know how you communicate with them. There are some that are going to prefer audio, there are some that are going to prefer live, there are some that are going to prefer on-site. So effectively managing your stakeholders is something that you should know as a project manager. The third is scope and requirements. You need to know the things that you need, the resources, the people, everything that you need to make sure that your project comes to life. The scope deals with the things that are within the scope and the ones that are out of the scope. So you need to know what you are trying to deliver, what you are trying to accomplish, what is the goal, what are we trying to achieve. You need to understand that. And the fourth thing is time management. As a project manager, time is very valuable. You need to know how to prioritize your resources, the deadlines. You need to know your milestones. You need to know how to use charts. You need to know how to use your Gantt chart, the Kanban board, so that you can track progress. You can see how effective your project is moving. Those are effective things that you need to use to make sure that you manage your time. The fifth point that you have to understand also as a project manager is budget and cost control. You need to know how to come up with an estimate for your project. How do you do this? You can do your research based on past projects, based on existing projects, by just conducting interview. Do your research detailedly. Come up with a valid proposal for your project. Don't come up with an estimate that at the end of the day you'll be having a shortage of about 40%. That is not a valid estimate for your project. You need to know how to track the progress, how you're spending, and make sure that you come up with a valid estimate for your project. The next thing, which is the sixth point, which is very important, is risk management. As a project manager, you need to know how to manage your risks. You need to know how to identify them. You're going to have risks that are going to enhance your project, the positive ones, the negative ones. So you need to know how to prioritize them. You identify your risks, identify people who are going to make sure that those risks are mitigated. Those are the risk owners. You need to track the risks, the progress. How is this risk going to destabilize our project? You need to understand how to prioritize your risks. The seventh point is something that I emphasize on so much each time I'm having a conversation with you guys, and I guess you know what that is: communication. You have to communicate. 80% of your time as a project manager is going to be spent communicating, from reporting, from daily stand-up, from your meetings. All your time is going to be spent communicating. You need to make sure that there is clarity. You need to make sure that people flow with you. People have an understanding. They should have a vision at the tip of their hands. Communication is a very important point. And the next point, which is the eighth point, is team management and leadership. You need to know how to lead. You need to know how to delegate tasks. You need to know how to reach out to people. That empathy, not authorizing people, not just commanding people around. You need to know how to effectively lead as a leader. You need to know who has to do this, who is capable of doing this. You need to understand people. That is what leadership is all about. It is about interaction, emotional intelligence, empathy, understanding. Don't set an environment where people are going to be confused. Set a space where people are going to feel value, because that is when they are going to give in their best in all your projects. So you need to make sure that you lead and manage your team effectively. Before we move to the next point, please do me a favor. I want you to double check if you're a subscriber to this community. That is profoundly going to help us in so many ways. It shows that you value the content that we bring here. It shows that what we are doing here is valuable to our listeners out there, and that is a profound way that you can support us. Thank you for doing that. Let's move to the ninth point, which is quality management. You need to know that as a project manager, you have to deliver quality, which means that you have to validate what you're doing. You need to constantly test. You need to do reviews. It shows that as a project manager, you are not just managing, but you are leading, and you are going to deliver effectively. Your result as a project manager is to make sure that you create impact. It doesn't matter where you are. You might be in a small community, in a large organization. The impact that you create is what shows your leadership. And the last, which is the 10th point, is tools and methodologies. Now that you have understood all of these things that you have to do, there are some tools that you need that are going to assist you. There are some methodologies that you need. Methodologies like waterfall, agile, hybrid. You need to start understanding all those things. We have tools like Microsoft, Jira, Trello, Monday.com. You need to understand those tools. They are going to facilitate the way you deliver your projects, the way you work on your project. If anything that I've shared with you today resonated, if it sparked a thought, a feeling, or even just a question, please hit the subscribe button. And my promise to you, alongside with my team, is to consistently bring you real, honest, and valuable content that helps you figure out project management, leadership, one conversation at a time. We bring this video to you every week. So see you next week. Thank you for being here.